There's this idea that we all have this sort of bubbling cauldron of horror within us, and by writing about it, you let it out. Is that intentionally not something that you experience, or is it just something you don't bring up because everybody says it?
Well, no, it's neither. It's a secondary effect. For me, catharsis, that's not horror centric. You're going to get catharsis in any good story because the best stories, they're not just about the world of the story, they're about the world of the audience. It's like all of the stories that we create as storytellers are little houses. And when you walk past a house, you can't tell everything about it, but you can tell something about the designer, you can tell something about the neighborhood, and you certainly, if you look at yourself, can examine a little bit of your reasons for responding the way you do to that house. And so any story, any little house like that is going to have the potential for catharsis. Like, I'm going to be able to understand myself a little bit more deeply. And it doesn't matter if that's horror or if that's science fiction or romance or anything, it can provide those high stakes, those brushes with what matter, because any story to work also has to have something matter. It has to have a value, because otherwise who cares? And so you can get catharsis like that anywhere. But horror has this really specific thing where we're going to take it as a base fundamental concept that there is a right and a wrong. And sometimes that's like a big cosmic right and wrong in the religious or theological sense. And sometimes it's just like, hey, most people worldwide agree it is not cool to chase after teens in a forest with an axe. And it sounds silly, but that's something that we lose because there's so many voices coming in at all times. There's so much noise with social media, with the 24-hour news cycle, with entertainment at our fingers, that it's hard to remember rights and wrongs. Sometimes everybody's constantly telling us, no, what really matters is finding your truth, and what really matters is being yourself. And that's great if you live on a desert island and you can't impact anyone. But we live in a society, most of us. And so we have to find ways to navigate that. We have to find ways to say, I think this is right to my best understanding, and I think this is wrong. And horror externalizes that. And it allows for some really interesting thought processes that way.